Hello, everyone, anyone, and no one. I think that's what I said. I don't know. It's been a while since I did a video because I don't really know why I even bother to do these videos. You know, I don't really have an incredibly large amount to offer. Um, but I thought I'd throw something together, or just talk about what I'm wasting my time doing at this point. I've got a new drawing that I've begun. Actually, the one that I was drawing the last time we spoke, I actually finished, um, which is a shocker. I generally hardly ever finish anything, but it turned out pretty decent. It's an artist who I admire, as I think I mentioned before, Peter Draws. You should check out his channel. He's amazing. He's an amazing guy. His philosophy and his just kind of approach. I don't know where this idea came from. I was just watching one of his videos one day, and he made a particular face and put his hand up to the camera like that, and I thought, and then he made faces earlier, and I don't know, I came up with this goofy idea that it'd be nice. He likes to do, like, he has like hand fingers that he puts on his fingers, and I don't know, it just came to me as a goofy idea, and I think it's okay. It's not a terrible idea. It didn't turn out too bad. With my particular technique of drawing, it took me, I don't know, a good 4 months, which is absurd, given the fact that it's a tiny drawing, really, when it comes down to it. But it's done, and it's in my notebook, and there it will sit until I die and someone throws it away, which is, there it is. That's probably what will happen with this drawing. This is Carlos Ruiz Zafon. He's a writer that I've always admired, and he died in the summer. Very young age of 54, 55, something like that. Ridiculous. And I wanted to do a tribute to him. And so, again, with the slow going, I don't know how many. I probably started this a month ago or more. And I haven't been working on it lately. Unfortunately, I haven't been, I tend to get, I don't know, depressed. I don't know if depressed is the word. And, this doesn't help. The fact that I indulge in this crap probably far more than I should. Probably, I don't know if I have a problem per se. But, I started it with Drambuie and Scotch as opposed to just straight Scotch. I moved away from the tequila. Drambuie is a lovely substance. Apparently it's Scotch mixed with like herbs and honey and stuff. It's a Scottish concoction, and so I mix it with Johnny Walker to create what's called the rusty nail, and it is delicious. I've had quite a few of these this evening, so apologies for incoherence in a general sense. My lighting situation has changed a little bit too because I got a wider computer monitor, so I might have more shadows to deal with as I'm drawing. I'm kind of rearranging how to best approach the lighting. Lighting is always a fucking problem. If you draw, I'm sure, I would love. I live in the middle of nowhere. I live in the middle of Ohio, and there's nothing around me for 50 miles. And there's no artists of any kind that I'm aware of anywhere near here. I would love to work with somebody and to talk about just technique and not just technique, but protocols and logistics and lighting setups and paper. And I mean, for the first time, Actually, I don't know how many years I've been drawing. I finally got a decent paper that's suited for my particular approach. It's a vellum, Bristol vellum, and it is perfect. This stuff, I made this notebook, a while back, and I just used, I don't know what kind of, just this average drawing paper. And it's not bad, but it's not conducive to my technique. I was constantly fighting it to try and get the result that I was looking for. And so it's been really helpful to find this paper. Like I said, it's Canson vellum, and it really does help with what I do. And it's very painstaking, no question. So right now I've finished the beard, in the mid portion of the face, and I was working my way into the clothing, and I kind of abandoned that, and now I'm sort of working my way up the forehead now, and it's not easy. So I have to find my way in, because it's really easy with a big plane like this with very subtle value changes to get lost. So I kind of have to find my way. So I'll start with the eyebrows, and then right now I'm moving up the temples. That's basically what I'm doing. Like I'm trying to create these values. I mean, because for me, one of my cardinal rules, which kind of defies what I learned in art school, is that for me, there is no white of the paper. I don't leave any. The only white of the paper, to be honest with you, that exists in any of my drawings is the highlight and the pupils. That's the only white of the paper that I leave unvalued. Everything else gets a value, because if I don't do it that way, it just doesn't look right to me. Like if these portions of the ears, right, this top of the ear and this top of the ear, if you look at the drawing, they're actually whiter than the whites of the pupils. But that's not going to, I already know before I even start that that's not going to work for me. I cannot leave anything white. So even though this looks like a fairly high value at the top of that ear, it's not. I've actually toned it very, very slightly in order to get it to have, I don't know, depth. I don't know if a depth is the right word, but it needs to have texture. Everything in the drawing, for me, for it to work, has to have texture. So even though when I look at this drawing, or when I look at my original source photograph, which is right here, actually I've got a bigger version here. If I look at this source photo, a lot of the forehead could be considered the highest value. Not only that, but the nose too, right? The bridge of the nose all the way down to right about the midpoint of the tip of the nose is all the highest value in the image. But I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to leave that the white of the paper. It just, again, it has to have a texture. So as a result of that, when I come to a wide field like this, it becomes onerous. It becomes a little difficult for me to create the kind of texture that doesn't look inappropriate. So generally what I do is, consulting my source reference photos, I'll go in and create, and I hold. Over the years, I've developed different ways of doing things. I used, for a long time, I used one of these gloves, and normally I do, even if I don't need it, I'll go ahead and put it on. Um, but I used to choke up pretty high on the pencil, but nowadays I find almost universally I hold it pretty far up the cylinder in order to be able to better control what I'm doing. One of the principles of art school that I definitely haven't abandoned is the notion of working from light to dark. Um, Probably to a fault. I could finish something a lot quicker if I had the confidence to apply more pressure when I know that an area is dark. I know that it has a particular value, but for the most part, I don't have that confidence. I've never had confidence with my ability to draw. I really don't have an ability to draw. That's, ironic, I know, because if you people who see my finished pieces, at least they used to, not so much anymore. It's funny, as I get older, people are less impressed with my output, um, to the point now where, even my close associates, I'll show them what I'm working on most recently, and they'll be like, "Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, that's pretty good, man. Yeah, it's not bad." Whereas when I was younger, uh, I don't have a lot of that work anymore. A lot of it I've given away. But I used to be able to blow people away. People would see what I was doing and be like, "Holy shit, that is fucking amazing." That really doesn't happen anymore. And that's interesting. I guess a younger person, is more compelling, I guess, with artistic ability. An old guy like me is like, well, who cares, dude? That's nice. It's almost like some people even consider it maybe even a waste of time. It's like, what the fuck are you doing that for? Do you sell your work? Do you make a living off of it, or do you do portraits? What I mean? The conversation like ends up in a different, realm than it would be when you're younger. I don't know. All I know is that, it's what I can do, and I do enjoy it. I really do. I find, the process to be, therapeutic, I guess, to a certain extent. And I really like the result. I mean, when something turns out well, I'm very pleased with it. Like the Peter drawing, I'm very pleased with it. But again, nobody cares. Nobody really, I guess I don't expect anybody to care really. But like, my own associates and people that I work with, and people that I'm acquainted with, on a social level, they just literally have no interest in it, like at all. Even my own wife, really doesn't have all that much interest. But whatever, I don't know. It is what it is. So, and again, what I do, what in order to create the values that I need, I'll go in, and it's almost universal that every single mark I will make is too dark. It will end up that whatever I do is too dark, so it's necessary for me to go back in and soften it with the eraser. Like in here, there's a darker field right here. There's a darker area, but I can already see that one mark right there I made is too dark, so that's okay. So I'll go ahead and create the shape of the area to a certain extent that I need in a general sense, you know, where it's leading. I'm trying to work up from this temple. Basically, that's my idea, is to, even though these eyebrows aren't done, I'm still working on those. They still haven't reached their final value yet. Although, you know, and I kind of skip around. That's one of the things that makes me inefficient as well, is I skip around a lot. But I'll go ahead and I'll lay down some marks, and then I'll go back in and very lightly pull back out that darkness, and then even it out again, because inevitably that eraser is clumsy and erases more areas in some areas than others. And I find it's important to have a nice point to control how much it's pulling off. So if I go in and very gently even out that texture to create a single value, as I do that, you know, as I move forward, my eye sees things that don't make sense, and so I'll go ahead and move over there and start fucking with that, which again isn't very efficient. I'm a terribly inefficient. That's one of the reasons why I'd love to apprentice with somebody who knows what they're doing. You know, that's again with artists in my area, I really wish there was someone around here that was more accomplished, that I could talk to, or that I could work with, that would, you know, that I could just go to their studio or whatever and work with them and have them see what I'm doing and to kind of correct my bad habits. I've never worked with, I mean, I did go to art school, but I didn't finish. And my painting teacher, my teacher was basically, there was one guy at the college I went to that was the main guy. And he was his name was Bill Paskowitz. And he was an oil painter himself, but he was very much into abstract expressionism. And he and I mean, he again, with the, with nobody really being interested in what I do, he thought this type of thing was a complete waste of time. You know, the kind of work that I was doing, which is, you know, even as a kid, even as a teenager, this is essentially the same kind of work that I've always done. You know, he hated it. He was just like, I remember showing him the drawing that I was working on at the time, which I actually still have. I found it in an old notebook, oddly enough, one of the few pieces that I have from that era. It's a drawing of the musician Tori Amos. Actually, I think you know what? I'll show it. Yeah, it's in my steamer trunk. I'll pull that stuff out and show it at some other point. But, you know, I thought it was pretty decent. It's not bad. It's not a bad drawing. It's different. It's a different style to a certain extent than this. I've changed how I do things with this whole pointillism thing. I used to use a lot more lines and a lot more hatching, which I moved away from because I was so bad at it. I just never grasped hatching. Hatching was a mystery to me and still continues to be a mystery to me. I see people who can hatch really well, cross-hatch, and I'm just absolutely blown fucking away by it. Like Jim Martin Studios. He has an Instagram. I think it's J Martin Studios on Instagram. That fucking guy, he could take an image like this and draw it in an hour and a half, and it would look fucking beautiful, and it would all be done by these quick hatch lines. I can't fucking do that. I've never been able to do that. I don't know how that works. I mean, if you look at money, you know, and see how those engravings are done with hatching, my brain has never been able to comprehend that. It's like, I guess it's like being good at chess, or you know, or having perfect pitch in music. You either have it or you don't. You either understand it or you don't. So the only thing I understand is values. I can look at something and go, that's darker than that by this much. I can do that. So I do what I can do. And, you know, that's pretty much all I can do. Oh, I'm out of Perrier. What a shame. So, and then my wife has animal. My wife has 2 dogs and we have 1 cat. And as I sit here, somehow, I don't know if you can see this, but right there and right there is a fucking dog hair. And as I'm working, I can't fucking comprehend how many dog hairs end up on my page. How is that fucking possible that there's that much dog DNA floating around the atmosphere that fucking they end up on my page repeatedly throughout the fucking night? Sorry, that's unkind, I suppose. They're good dogs, you know, when it comes down to it. Except one, you know, is a little bit nuts, but that's fine. So, but even with what I'm able to do, even that is problematic. Because if you look at the beard, I spent a good fucking 2 weeks on this beard, which is absurd. I understand. But I wonder if I can zoom in. Can I zoom in? I can zoom in. Look at that. Wow, it doesn't let me move it around. Here, let's do this. Okay. Moving back. Wow. Really sophisticated equipment that I have to work with. Okay. Let me just bend it just a hair. All right. Sorry. I apologize. So I'm still struggling with the values in this beard. You know, even though I know there are more darker areas than I have created, you know, it just seems like no matter how much I try and accommodate that, it doesn't end up getting where I need it to be. But I'll keep working. Yeah. And again, let me zoom back out again. So, just so you give you an idea of the composition, I assembled this sort of image in Photoshop. So I've got an angel. Look, there's a fucking dog hair. Oops, I'm sorry, I hit the camera. There's a fucking dog hair back, right there. Can you see it? It's a lot. Watch, when I move it, you'll see it. There's a fucking dog hair just out of the blue. Boom. Okay, I'm just not going to freak out. The overall composition is Carlos Ruiz Zafon. All right, and then there's a demon on his shoulder here that you can kind of sort of see. There's his wing, and there's some Gothic architecture behind it. And then here, this is an angel that's crouching on his shoulder with a wing coming up here. I think at the end, it's going to be a pretty beautiful drawing. It's going to be, if I successfully pull it off, it'll be one of the most, if not the most accomplished thing that I've done thus far with my life, which is which is again kind of sad. But hey, I mean, fuck, I don't know. Other people, what do they accomplish in life? I don't know. I shouldn't downplay what I do. So far, I think it's good. I'm happy with it. I wish I could be quicker. I wish I could be more efficient. I wish I knew what I was doing more. But there it is. And again, I'm using my beloved Visconti mechanical pencil, which I've come full circle on. And on occasion, I'll also use a Rotring, a Rotring 0.3. So this is the Rotring 500 because it's it's got a 0.3 and this is a 0.5, so it's helpful sometimes to have a thinner. And then on very rare occasions, the Oran's 0.2 also comes in handy on the pupils and on certain areas where there's really, really incredible detail. And I also picked up this magnifying glass, which has created a very a nice ability for me to zero in on things. For example, these little studs that are on the edges of his spectacles. This was very helpful in getting those. This is getting those correct. I got this on I don't know where I got this online somewhere, and it was very inexpensive, and it's beautiful. It's actually a really lovely object, and it's very, very helpful. It's a 10 times magnification, so it works very well. I'm very pleased with it, and so I just keep it. I keep it right here next to me in case I need to magnify something. And on occasion, I use my Tombow Eraser, which is very nice if I need to erase something rather large, as opposed to, because this really isn't for large areas, it's for very delicate applications. But, and again, you can see on this eyebrow, when I was just tapping on it, I made it way too dark. So now I'm going to go in and I'm going to even it out a little bit, and then I'll have to go back in and apply a little more value to it, and then eventually it'll get where I need it to be. So what else is there? I don't know. What else is there but Scotch and Drambuie? It is, what time is it? I think it's 1:45 a.m. on a Tuesday night, I think. Monday night? I'm not sure. But I'll be here tapping away with my pencil. I hope you guys are all okay. I mean, it's a bad time, right? It's a bad time. My wife just texted me earlier this evening and said that one of her close, not friends, but some individual at her workplace. She works at an Amazon fulfillment center nearby here at the airport that actually I work at as well. I'm a safety assurance analyst, even though I used to teach college, but I started teaching college too late in life, and more younger and accomplished people supplanted my ability to find work. So that's another story. And but yeah, one of the people that she works with very closely has tested positive for the COVID And, at this point in time, I mean, I work from home. I'm very fortunate at my job. I landed like through crazy circumstances. I got a job in the aviation industry, um, doing safety assurance, which is impossible to explain, and I won't even bother to try. But luckily, I'm very capable of doing that from home. So I work exclusively from home, and so I don't have much exposure. But unfortunately, my wife, also a college teacher, she was working for a college in Ohio as well, but it wasn't working out, and she was incredibly miserable. So in a fit of frustration and anger, she quit. She quit her job and has yet to be able to kind of find her feet. So one of the things that she did was she went to work for Amazon. And people, mark my words, at this point in time, people who are working in the near future, in the next 10, 15, 20 years, people who are working are likely gonna have some connection to Amazon. Because those motherfuckers are taking over the goddamn world. And they have no ethical boundaries for how they accomplish that. But you didn't hear that from me because, I'd rather not lose my job. Even though I'd rather sit here and draw all day, I can't make a living doing it because it takes me 6 months to finish a drawing. God, I wish I could make a living drawing. I would absolutely do this all day long, every day, as a way to make a living. But those days are gone. I don't know when those days left, but they haven't been around. I mean, some people can, like that guy I mentioned, Jay Martin. If you can bust out an amazing drawing in 15 minutes, you're good. You're golden. You can make a living as an artist, but not for somebody that's a talentless hack like me. That it takes, I mean, literally 6 months for me to finish a tiny drawing. And I can't alter my style. I've tried to alter my Beth, my wife, has begged me, on several occasions because she actually does acknowledge the fact that I have an ability. But she's like, isn't there any way you can do it quicker? And I'm like, yeah, there should be. I would expect, that to be the case. Yeah, there should be a way that I could do it quicker, but I haven't found it. I mean, I haven't found it. But anyway, back to the situation we're all in. She had a close compatriot that was that tested positive tonight. I guess they regularly test all the workers for COVID, and one of them that she works with very closely in a basically an enclosed space tested positive. And it's like it's only a matter of time for me. I mean, if she's going out and she's working and she's out, getting exposed, it's only a matter of time. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. And she's young. She's, we're a very. Sorry, I keep hitting the camera. She's much younger than I am. I'm 55 years old. She's 30 years old. She gets it. She'll probably pull through. If I get it, I'm probably toast. I'm fat. I'm not fat, but I'm overweight. I don't take care of myself. I vape. This is my vape pen, which I haven't indulged in the time that we've been on video. I don't really exercise like I should. Anyway, Um, if I get it, I'm probably I'm probably cooked. That's just the way I look at it, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, what am I what am I offering the world? What contribution do I represent? I sit in my room, I read other people's books, I draw, I write in my journal, I create audits for a cargo airline. I don't contribute anything, so who's going to miss me? My mom will be devastated because my mom's a great person. My mom's an unbelievable person. She will be she will be devastated, because she's that way and she's sentimental you know, and I feel bad about that. But, in the grand scheme of things, what's the world losing? If I catch COVID and kick off, I've got a portfolio of several mediocre pieces of work that nobody will ever give a shit about. But whatever. I'll still move forward. I'll still keep doing what I can do. I really want to finish this. I think, Carlos Ruiz Zafon is an artist that I wish to venerate and I wish to honor, and I hope, you know, maybe his family. I'll post this on his Instagram page, and if anybody wants it, the original, I will happily give it to them because he brought me for many, many, many years. Reading his books, brought me an incredible sense of wonder and adventure and amusement, and I love his books. So if I can just, before I die, if I could finish this to the best of my ability, I will have done something worthwhile, and I think it'll be good. Hopefully, so I don't know what else I have to offer on this one, but we'll talk soon. Take care of yourselves.